Good morning, students. You are welcome to our online class arranged by Birol Government College. I am Mohammad Ruhul Hassan Khan with you to conduct this class. In our previous class, I discussed on the topics of modifier, and in that class, I could not finish all the topics on this item. As far as I can remember, I discussed in the previous class up to participle. That means noun, adjective, adverb, adverbial phrase, participle. All these terms had been discussed in my previous class. So today I will continue this item, and it will be started from participle phrase. So how can we use participle phrase? Participle, what do you mean by participle phrase? Participle phrase If you can remember what is participle, I think it will be very easy for you to write participle phrase, because we know phrase is a group of words, and participle phrase must be with a participle. So if you want to write a present participle phrase, so present participle phrase must be started with a present participle, that means verb plus ing. And if you want to write a past participle phrase, then that must be started with a past participle, that means V3 form plus other words. That will be a past participle phrase. So you will be instructed to use a participle phrase. So now I can give an example. Suppose if you get a sentence, I saw a man now there is an instruction for you. Use a participle phrase. Use a participle phrase. That means you have to use a phrase here to complete this sentence. I saw a man. I saw a man. If you write here lying on the ground. Lying on the ground, you can write it. You can also write sleeping on the bed. Sleeping on the bed. This is also a present participle phrase or participle phrase. You can also, I saw a man sitting under a mango tree. So notice here, all these I have used here three participle phrases. I saw a man lying on the ground. I saw a man sleeping on the bed. I saw a man sitting under a mango tree. Just you have to use at first a participle, then according to the necessary to complete the sentence, you have to use another words. So one, two or more words are used as a phrase. So here, according to necessary, you can use 2 words, 3 words, 4 words as soon as possible. So now I think you can understand the present participle phrase or participle phrase. How can you use? Now we can say determiner. So what is determiner? Determiner refers to any word to determine any noun or pronoun. So determiner may be article, determiner, article. That means articles are also determiner. If you are instructed to use a determiner, then it may be used an article, or it may be used possessive. That means possessive pronoun. It may be used demonstrative pronoun. Demonstrative pronoun. So possessive pronoun, demonstrative pronoun, article. Determiner also may be quantifier. So all these terms may be used as determiner. You can be instructed to use especially this term or maybe determiner. Suppose if you get an example, I bought use a determiner. Use a determiner as modifier. Pencil from a shop. So there is a blank space, there is a gap, and there is an instruction for you, use a determiner as modifier. So I bought gap pencil. Pencil is in singular form, so easily you can use here I bought a pencil. So you have been instructed here to use a determiner, and I said previous that article is used as determiner. So article, you know, there are three articles, a, and the. And all these three articles are determiner. So according to the necessary you have to use, and if you may be instructed to use an article as determiner, an article as modifier. Suppose there is an example. Dash use an article. Use an article as modifier. Principle of our college is a very honest man. So notice the sentence. In the first position of the sentence is a gap, and there is an instruction for you, use an article as modifier. That means you have to use an article. That means a, an, or the. Then you have to think what article will be suitable here. So a and the. From these three articles you have to use one. So which one will be suitable here? You have to know it. So principle is a single person in our college. So there is no option to use here for you A or N. So which one we have to use here? Of course, the. So the principal of our college is a very honest man. So if you are instructed to use here a determiner, at that time you also use here the. So okay. Now you can get another example. I went to use a determiner or possessive as modifier college on last Sunday. So notice the sentence. I went to dash. There is an instruction for you. Use a determiner. You may be instructed to use a determiner or use a possessive as modifier. So answer will be same. I went to our college. You can use here our, or you can write here my. I went to my college. So our is used here as a general form, our college. So I went to our college as on last Sunday. So if you are instructed to use possessive, so what words are used as possessive? You should keep in mind it. Possessive means possessive pronoun. You know, pronouns are in several forms: subjective form, objective form, and possessive form. So possessive form means my, our, your, his, her, their, mine, yours, hers, theirs. So my, our, your, his, her, their. Possessive. Possessive means to have something on one's possession. That means when you possess something, that means when you have something, when we have something, then we have to use this possessive pronoun. Possessive. So mine, yours, hers, theirs. These terms are called double possessive. So suppose if you have to use from these words, my friends came to, here you have been instructed, use use a possessive. Use a possessive as modifier village on last summer vacation. Summer vacation. My friends came to dash village on last summer vacation. So my friends came to my village. You can use here my village, or you can also use here our village. Our village. So you may be also instructed here to use a determiner, because all these terms have been appeared from determiner. So now demonstrative pronoun. Demonstrative means to demonstrate something. That means to show something. This, that, these, those, such. All these words or terms are used as demonstrative or demonstrative pronoun, but when we use this demonstrative pronoun in a sentence, then it turns into demonstrative adjective. So if you get a sentence, I want, now you are instructed to use a demonstrative. Use a demonstrative book. I want dash book. So now you can use here, I want this book. I want this book. As the book is in a singular form, then of course you have to use here this or that. I want this book or I want that book. And if the book is in plural form, books, then you are not allowed to use these or that. Then you have to use here either these or those. That means books are in plural form. You have to use plural demonstrative. That means these, T-S-E-S-E, these, or T-S-O-S-E, those. So I think you have understood this term. Now we can use quantifier. Quantifier. You know, quantifier is a term which is used to mention something in number or in quantity. It may be in number. Quantifier may be in number or in quantity. Quantity. You know, number is used to mention those nouns that can be counted. That means number is used to countable noun, and quantity is used for uncountable noun. That means what we cannot count in number, then we have to use in quantity. Suppose if you get a sentence, there is a use a quantifier as modifier. Water in the glass. There is a dash, and in this gap you have to use a quantifier. Water in the glass. I have told before that when something cannot be counted in number, water, here noun is water. Water cannot be counted. It must be measured. So as it is not counted, as it is uncountable noun, so we have to use here quantity. So there is a, you can use here a little water. There is a little water in the glass. So to express in quantity, you can use little, mass, not a little, and to express in number, you can use here 1, 2, 3, 4, any, many, few, some. Some is also used in quantity. Some is used in two field. It may be used in quantity, it is also used in number. Because you can write there are use quantifier people in the field. There are, you can use here some people, some or few, many. So there are many people in the field, there are a few people in the field, there are some people in the field, and some is also used in quantity. You can write there is some water in the glass. So some is used in both form, in the case of number and in the case of quantity. Now I think you have understood the determiner, and now determiner, possessive have been discussed. Appositive. Now I will discuss appositive. What is appositive? At first we should know it. Appositive means a noun or a group of words that give some extra information about the prior noun. Or you can also say, if two nouns or two noun phrase sitting by side, and the later noun gives some information about the first noun, that is appositive. Suppose if you get Qazi Nazrul Islam, we know who is Qazi Nazrul Islam. Now if we want to use an appositive, that means a word or a group of words that must be used to give some information about Qazi Nazrul Islam. That will be an appositive. Qazi Nazrul Islam now use an appositive was born in 1899. So Qazi Nazrul Islam use an appositive. That means we have to give some information about Qazi Nazrul Islam. So who is Qazi Nazrul Islam? Our national poet. So Qazi Nazrul Islam, our national poet. If you write here our national poet, our national poet. So this phrase, our national poet, is an appositive here. That means our national poet, this phrase have been used to give some extra information about the first subject, Qazi Nazrul Islam. So here our national poet is an appositive. You can also write Qazi Nazrul Islam, revealed poet. Revealed poet was born in 1899. You can also write Mr. Rafiqul Islam. Rafiqul Islam. You have to use here an appositive. Use an appositive is a very strict person. So, Mr. Rafiqul Islam, you know who is Mr. Rafiqul Islam? Of course, our principal. So, you can write here our principal. Mr. Rafiqul Islam, our principal, or you can write also here principal of Birol Government College. Mr. Rafiqul Islam, our principal, or Mr. Rafiqul Islam, principal of Birol Government College, is a very strict person. So this phrase, this is a phrase, and this is also a phrase. And these two phrases have been used to give some information about Mr. Rafiqul Islam. So it may be used to give information about subject, and it can be used also to give information about an object. Suppose if you get something, if you get a sentence, we invited Mr. Zaman. We invited Mr. Zaman. Here you have been instructed to use an appositive. Use an appositive in our college function. So we invited Mr. Zaman. We subject, invited verb. Mr. Zaman is an object here. So you have to use here an appositive that will give some information about Mr. Zaman. So we invited Mr. Zaman. If you write here renowned doctor, doctor in our college function. So a renowned doctor, a famous doctor, a well-known doctor, a popular doctor, all these terms, these phrases have been used to give some information about Mr. Zaman. So this is also an appositive. So quantifier have been discussed with determiner. Now intensifier, we have to discuss with the intensifier. Intensifier means to intensify something. Intensify means to give emphasize, to increase something, to enlarge something. Suppose when you have been instructed to use intensifier, in 90% cases, very will be used. Very. Intensifier means in maximum case you have to use very, and except very, there also can be used acute, severe, most, another one or two word may be used also as intensifier. Suppose if you get a sentence, the old man is suffering from use an intensifier headache. The old man is suffering from dash headache. So headache, I said in 90% cases you have to use very, but in this case you cannot use very. Here you have to use acute headache or severe headache. Acute or severe. And if you want to use very, the man is running use an intensifier fast. The man is running dash fast, very fast. In my previous class, I also said when I discussed with the adverb, very is also used as an adverb, and it is also used an intensifier. So when you will get intensifier to use, then in maximum cases we have to use very, and in minimum cases, in several times we can use acute, severe, or most. So, dear students, I think the class will be helpful for you to understand, to realize modifier, and it will be helpful to give appropriate answer in your exam. And so no more today. Okay, thank you very much.